Hi, it's Dan from Plant to Health. The good, the bad, and the ugly. What are the different types of fats in our foods, and why should we know about them? Coming up next. There are four major types of fats present in our food. Saturated fat, the bad, trans fat, the ugly, and the supposed good, which is polyunsaturated fats and monounsaturated fats. Now, while trans fats and saturated fats tend to be solid at room temperature, such as butter, lard, or margarine, monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats tend to be liquid at room temperature, as we can see in oils. Again, but we need to remember that those oils are still very highly processed foods. We'll touch on that later. Let's start with the bad. Saturated fat. Anyone telling you that saturated fat is good for you or is okay for you is either trying to sell you something, is deluding himself because they want to keep consuming those fats, or is straight out lying to you. All the major health authorities in the world agree that saturated fats should be cut down to the bare minimum. The only reason they are not saying to eliminate the consumption of saturated fats, typically found in animal foods, by the way, they're ubiquitous in animal foods. The reason that they're not saying that is that they think it would be unpractical or unreasonable to ask people not to eat animal foods. However, we know that we can do it different and better. Trans fats are the ugly. They are commonly acknowledged by all health authorities in the world as unhealthy for you, and we should avoid them. Where are they present? Mostly in processed foods. You'll find them in different kinds of sweets, crackers, cakes. They're being phased out mostly, but still present. They are also present in smaller quantities in some animal foods. You want to stay away from trans fats as much as possible. Now, on to the good fats. That term, good fats, was coined as a marketing campaign. There are fats, monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats, as we said, that are less harmful to your health. You do need fat in your diet, but you need to be consuming it from your food, not free fats in the form of oils. Oils are highly processed. Oils are the extract of one distilled particular ingredient from a plant, and that ingredient is pure fat, 100% fat, extremely fattening. Lest we forget that fat has 9 calories per gram, while carbs and protein have 4 calories per gram. So it's much more calorically dense, and it's much easier to gain weight when you're consuming fat. And also, when your fat consumption is higher, you will be gaining more weight because fat is the metabolic coin of energy storage, and the body prefers to store it if possible. When you're consuming fats, hopefully polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fats, you should be consuming them in your food. Now, a lot of people will say, okay, so let's consume avocados, nuts and seeds, flax, chia. Those are all healthy choices. Absolutely. Whole plant foods. The fat, you'll notice there, is not free. It's tied up with fiber, with water, with vitamins and minerals and phytochemicals that are naturally present in plant foods, in whole plant foods, and are not present in processed junk. They're not present in animal foods. While it is good to consume them, you should limit their consumption, especially if you want to keep your weight down. All the evidence points to higher fat diets being unhealthful and having deleterious effects in the long run in terms of increasing your risk for different kinds of diseases and in terms of your cardiovascular health. So avoid oils because they are universally unhealthy, universally fattening, will make you gain weight, and are shown to be bad for your cardiovascular system. They slow down the blood flow, they damage the endothelium, which is the inner lining of our arteries, which is very important. And I advise to stay away from all oils and just eliminate them from your diet. It's not that difficult to do. It sounds tough, but it really isn't. A word of caution about the worst offenders in the plant kingdom. Yes, I'm talking, we need to be aware and wary of the top 3 offenders within the plant kingdom. So we tend to think of plants automatically as healthy. That is not the case. We have a few major offenders here that need to be brought to our attention. Number 1, coconut. Yes, I'm the first to admit coconut is delicious, but it has the highest saturated fat content in any plant food. Coconut oil is 89% saturated fat. You can check it out for yourself to see that meta-analyses conducted have shown that it promotes atherosclerosis. It will actually help you get heart disease. So you want to avoid it. And I mean all forms of coconut. The only thing that is relatively safe to consume is fresh coconut flesh. You know, the one that actually still has the fiber and all that, and is still fresh. And I would advise to keep the quantities small. Right now, where people are consuming massive quantities of coconut products and coconut oils, and it's gotten an amazing marketing campaign. It is actually extremely unhealthy for vegans. So please stay away from coconut. Number 2, palm oil. Now we know the ethical problems with the consumption of palm oil, but did you know that it is number 2, runner-up, right after coconut, with the highest saturated fat content in the plant kingdom? Number 3, cocoa butter. Yes, we all love chocolate. Chocolate is delicious, but it's not delicious because of the cocoa nibs. If you've ever tried eating cocoa nibs, they're hard and bitter. They are healthy, but they contain a significant quantity of fat, which is processed into what's called cocoa butter. Cocoa butter is very high in saturated fat, so it's actually number 3 on the list of the worst offenders in the plant kingdom. So do you want to be eating chocolate? People say that it's healthy. Look at the information for yourself. Check out the highest quality chocolate that you can find and look at the saturated fat content and tell me if you think that eating quantities of saturated fat that exceed the recommended daily allowance by all the health authorities in the world, if that would be a good, healthful, and clever thing to do for ourselves and our health. That's it for today. Thank you for joining. Please subscribe to my channel. I'd love it if you would comment and like the video, share it with your friends, and remember, eat whole plant foods and you only stand to lose the weight, the diabetes, the heart disease, and I'll see you next time.